Hello everyone, my name is Paul. Welcome to Common Touch of Fantasy. Thank you for joining me for this review of the Geek Feminist Revolution by Kameron Hurley. This is a collection of essays by Kameron Hurley. She writes science fiction and fantasy, and she talks about feminism, feminism within geek culture. She talks about science fiction and fantasy, the publishing industry, and the ordeals that women experience. She talks about the diversification of fiction and a bunch of different other things as well. And it's just a really great nonfiction read that reads relatively quickly. It's chopped up into sections, and the essays are relatively short. Most of the essays were originally blog posts, so if you're familiar with her website, some of these essays will be familiar, but there's also some essays that she wrote specifically for this book as well. When it comes to nonfiction, what's important to me is learning something from that, and I'm going to go through the different sections and tell you what I learned from it. The first part of this essay collection is called Level Up, and it made me realize that I need to stop making excuses and work harder. Women in particular have to work really hard in the publishing industry. If you want to be a writer, you have to persist. You have to stop making excuses, dedicate the time, and stop making problematic stories that others did before you. To say that other people are getting published because they are a certain demographic is just wrong. Everyone is putting forth a ton of effort as a writer, and it takes a while to be a successful writer. And the second part of this, the collection is called Geek, and talks about sexism and equality in storytelling. The thing I took away from this section was that I need to stop being so critical of female characters, and that criticism being based on my own society's view of cultural norms when it comes to women. So when there is a female in a story that I don't like, I need to really look at why I don't like her, and if it's actually just my cultural background that makes me think that she's not womanly enough or something like that. Maybe replace her gender with a man, and if a man acted the same way that she was written, would I still dislike him? So just to kind of really look at female characters in books and figure out why I think the way I think about them. The third section of this is called Let's Get Personal, and it's all about Hurley's very personal ordeals that she went through. The first thing that I learned is that the Affordable Care Act is really important to a lot of people, and it saved her life because she was drowning in debt. She couldn't really pay any of her bills. She had to buy this medication to keep herself alive, and it's just a really gripping story and experience that she talks about that she wants no one to ever go through. Also, women in particular need to hold their tongue more so in the publishing industry because it might jeopardize their job more so than men. This was an important section for me because Hurley talks about being an adult a lot, and how when you're an adult you can't respond the way you would have responded when you were younger. And as an person in the industry, you need to respond with respect or not respond at all. And this was very important to me because I need to act more grown up online at times. Yeah. The fourth section is labeled Revolution. In this section, we have her most popular essay, which is We Have Always Fought. And that essay talks about women's involvement in war in different countries and different wars and things, and how they were always fighting, always in wars. The thing I took away the most from this section was that I need to be more empathetic towards women that get upset on the internet, because it's not just that one thing that they're upset about. It's the build up to that. It's like 100 other things, and it's that one thing that's like the last straw, and they get upset. And I need to be more empathetic towards women, and also men that get upset on the internet, because I don't know what they're going through, how many times they have been harassed on the internet, how many times they've been threatened, and things like that. So I just need to be more empathetic towards women in general on the internet. Great groups of essays. I really enjoyed this. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I definitely need to read more of her actual fiction. I've only read The Mere Empire, but I love her nonfiction. The only thing that I kind of struggled with was her use of language at times. Even though I like that she's blunt and to the point, sometimes she's a little bit too blunt, almost too to the point, and the swearing and stuff, the loudness of it. I don't really get along with those type of people all that much. Men and women that are like very loud and vocal and they swear a lot. I don't really get along with them that well. But at the same time, I need to respect them and respect their views as well. And after reading this, I realized that I may have a small prejudice towards women that are very loud and vocal about feminism and are very like in your face about it. And I need to check that prejudice a little bit. It's not a big thing. It's very small, I think. But it's big enough that I need to really look at myself to see if it's a real thing, you know, and see if I treat women that act that way differently than men, even though I don't care for people that either one that does that. So I need to really evaluate that about myself. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. This has been a review of the Geek Feminist Revolution. If you like things about feminism, things about science fiction and fantasy, the industry, the writing aspects of it, especially how it deals with women in the industry, check this book out. I think you would like it. I give it a 4 out of 5, and my TBR priority is a 7 out of 10. You need to read this soon because it was really good. Thanks for watching. Please like if you liked this review, comment if you have anything to say, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Thanks for watching, guys.